Hello, my producers, and welcome back to Soul Horoscopes Weekly Edition. I'm your host to the universe, Christopher Witecki. And a special invitation down to the garden, soulgarden.me. We have a new office hours, a primetime one. We call it Office Hours SG After Dark. It's at 6 p.m. on Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We've got chat room. We've got Jenny Watson and I, Marcella. Come on down. Come talk about boys, come talk about love, come talk about anything. That's the whole point of it, prime time. And we are shifting. It's a perfect lineup really with the planets. We're moving into the sun in Leo, and that means you'll be working on 2 other states of awareness this month. But before we dive into that, let's review how it all works. Sometimes people ask, I thought I'd go over it. On the one hand, there is the God universe energy, and that's what everyone goes through. So the sun is now in Leo. That means as Earth is on its current orbit place, which is what sun in Leo really means, is a calendar date, the sun in Leo. That's where the Earth is in a particular orbit. We're working on our green energy. Our green energy is our heart chakra energy, and later in Virgo, our IB energy. So the whole Earth is working on love, our ability to connect to love consciousness. And if you don't know, love consciousness is the source energy of everything. Love really does make the world go round. So on the love level, we are logging in. Then on your own tribe level, as a Taurus, all Tauruses will be working on their self-nurturing state of awareness. So when the sun is in Leo and you're a Taurus, you're working on your love and your connection to love energy from source, and you're working on your ability to self-nurture, to keep that love contained, nurtured, and you're self-contained. So this is home life, family life, how you ground yourself, your self-nurturing rituals such as bathing and how well you sleep at night. All of these things go into an overall emotional pattern. When we talk about self-nurturing, we're talking about your ability to nurture out problems in your emotions, to release emotions. And yes, the whole world just went through emotions last month. Now Tauruses as a tribe are doing their own personal emotional massaging after dealing with that on a global level. So as we start on Monday, Taurus, we're clicking into chapter 1 of Sun in Leo. The sun is just 1 degree and the moon is in Libra. That means it's going to be probably a bit of a hyper-aware day. And this first week, as we move into Leo, we really only want to understand one thing in chapter 1, and that is, can you feel the love or not? Is there love present? Are you receiving love consciousness from yourself? Are you receiving love consciousness from the world? That's the big question we'll be putting out, and I'll be putting out further questions in GA to nail it down to that personal level as well. Monday, we're starting to feel that. So on Monday, if you're feeling kind of icky, since it is hyper-aware, you're probably not feeling love source. If you're feeling sort of good, you may be, but it is really a hyper-aware day where we are assessing, ultimately, is there love present, isn't there? And then on your personal tribe level, as far as how you self-nurture, you may get extended extra on Monday, and really the question or the lesson is, did you respond by, was there any kind of response to nurture your emotions when they were worn out at the end of the day? Was there love present to nurture into you at the end of the day? That's the question on Monday, so we're assessing. On Tuesday, it is an emotional day, rather right away. It's a partly cloudy chance of storms on Tuesday. The moon is well into Libra, making you hyper-aware of your reality, making you hypersensitive of your feelings. So that sets you up kind of for a problem anyways, right? And then secondly, we have the moon in Libra and crossing Saturn. Now let's hyper in here. There is a little bit of a party going on here in Libra. The moon crosses Mars and then Saturn. This focus, as we had said, is the wrap-up of the Taurus story about getting your personal lifestyle in order, balancing out your lifestyle, and that's the platform on which to build where you're going next. So Tauruses are out of time, and today on Tuesday you are feeling it if that's the case. In particular, you are feeling, one, is there any love around to yourself or from the world to help you get through the day? And second, how well is your lifestyle contributing or not? As the moon crosses over Saturn, you will be invited by the universe to emotionally grow up or mature or change your emotional expectations of the moment so you can have a happier, more balanced lifestyle. I also want to point out this multi-day trine that is moving from Venus in Gemini up to this big conglomerate of planets in Libra. Now Venus way up in Gemini is at a manifestation point, and what it is saying is it is trying to get Tauruses to receive more, period. To receive more value, to receive more abundance, to manifest more. So as you work on opening up your ability to receive and manifest, this directly pipelines over to expanding your lifestyle. And in some cases, you're cutting things off in your lifestyle so that you can receive more. Then on Wednesday, Jupiter rules the day. The sun comes back out to play. The sun is, after all, in Leo, so we're feeling a bit more happy. You still are hyper aware. This is nearly a third day of the moon in Libra, but it's the higher sense of it. So really, Wednesday's a great day for performance, for being out, to run the ship, to get back in your body. Any type of thing you decide in the last 2 days with the moon crossing these planets, today's a day where you really might have the energy or emotions to get things moving and get things together. At the same time, with the sun at 3 degrees and Jupiter ruling the day, it is a day of discovery. Where in self-nurturing, Taurus, are you letting yourself down? Where's your home family foundation letting you down? What perhaps patterns from childhood are you still standing on, which is why you're being let down? A lot of this early self-nurturing transit is the removal of patterns that began in childhood, quite often to survive, but now as adults are probably in the way. So be looking for that too on Jupiter Exploration Day. Also, check this out. We've got a double yod. A double yod. One of the odds we knew already about. This is the odd that points to Oh Holy Pluto at the top. That was started last week. It will continue for a while. Let's put that down. What's more interesting is Pluto is involved in a yod itself, along with Neptune, and these trine down, or yod down, it's not really a trine, yod down to the Sun conjuncting Mercury in Leo. So what this is saying to you today, Taurus, is on this day of exploration, and exploration is the key, the Sun and Mercury is the tip of the yod. In other words, explore love in your life, explore love options in your life, explore your self-nurturing, explore your childhood. You're being pointed to explore, but also with Neptune and Pisces, be intuitive about where you belong in the world and your social status, and Pluto and Capricorn, be open to your belief structure. Realize that whatever it is that comes down to self-nurturing, it's highly tied to you stepping away from childhood beliefs, says Pluto, and it's highly tied to you intuitively finding your right place in society, says Neptune. Boy, that's a mouthful, but you got it all. Then Thursday, breakdown. Uranus rules the day. Unfortunately, that means we're going to have our first breakdown of the season. For you, this might be some severe thunderstorms and temper tantrums, probably likely triggered by a long-term relationship, or maybe a poor me lack of long-term relationship. Can go either way, right? But either way, even though you are blaming relationships, feeling maybe injustice, it's not really about injustice, it's about this month's topic. You either are not receiving enough love from yourself or the world, or secondly, you are not self-nurturing yourself as a Taurus. Either way, whatever part of your life was built out of straw and not brick probably blows down on Thursday. That is the nature of Uranus. The moon in Scorpio, like I said, pulls an emotional focus to relationships. Highly likely an LTR will light the fuse, but again, it may not be just about the LTR. Even if they're not giving you enough love, it's beyond them. It's everywhere in life. So they're just one culprit. Either way, look for the breakdowns, get through the day, and those in GA will go a little deeper by texting you how this is affecting you personally in your chart. Then to Friday. Now, Friday is not exactly a party day, but at least the storms are over. Partly cloudy day. The moon is still in Scorpio, so sentiment, partnership, balance, justice, these are the themes that the bulls will be focused on Friday. But at the same time, we have a breakthrough. Mercury rules the day, and I'll remind you, Mercury is retrograde and conjuncting the Sun. So Mercury ruling the day and moving backwards really gives us the potential for the epiphany, or probably on Friday, although a cloudy day, probably really becomes clear what your love story is going to be this year, finding your love source again, and secondly, how you're going to self-nurture it, what it means for your home, family, and foundation. Those are the two real big questions that I think become a lot more clear. When I say clear, I mean you're going to figure out what the questions are. Now, that said, I also want to point out this trine is going to be in effect for some time. The Sun conjuncting Mercury retrograde in Leo, trining up to Uranus in Aries. What this is a dynamic relationship between your growth. On the one hand, you're trying to bring in more love and better self-nurturing in your life. On the other, Uranus in Aries says you're going to have to innovate your faith in yourself to see it, to do it, to go there. So higher faith innovation, which sometimes means you're on your knees praying, and then the Sun in Leo, which means you're trying to figure out just what home to be praying in, right? Or also why it is you're cut off from love. So I think you're starting to get the clarity on Friday, both with this trine and also with Mercury retrograde ruling the day. Then on Saturday, we have a nice Venus ruled day. So Saturday is a nice rainbow, sunny, Sun in Leo day. This is a day where you kind of get the best out of Leo. The planet does feel good. This is usually the real feel-good part of the summer. People don't know it, but it's Leo, because Leo is the love source of energy. So when the Sun moves in Leo, everybody's feeling a bit more lovey-dovey. We certainly are on Saturday. In this particular day, just to add extra beautiful boost, the moon moves into Sagittarius, also a jovial, sunny, fun sign. And not only does it move into Sagittarius, but Bingo, we've got a soul pyramid, a temporary soul pyramid in fire. So Saturday is a profoundly inspirational day. All right, I think a lot's going to go on in that case. This grand trine is really the source of it. Now, the epicenter, or the fastest moving planet, is the moon in Sagittarius. So Tauruses are actually a bit private. The moon in Sag pulls you into emotions around trust, intimacy, etc. But having your emotions sensitive to your trust actually puts you in a dynamic place to change on the fly if you're willing. So I think this is kind of a rotating potential here. It's the nuclear part of the equation. But what is this bringing everything together as far as in the boundaries? Well, it trines down to the Sun and Mercury, which means you are starting to balance out and feel at least what you need for love and what you need for self-nurturing. And remember, when we say love, we mean our self-love nurturing. Self-love nurturing. Love with others is chapter 3. All right? This is self-love only, so don't boo-hoo about relationships just yet. I'll give you the time. But it is about you feeling a certain way with trust, down to what you need for love in life from the global earth, what you need for self-nurturing and home, family, and foundation, and then over to what? That Uranus and Aries, which means you'll be innovating your faith in life. So you're starting on Saturday to feel a new faith. You're starting to feel a new trust, and it comes down to looking at your self-nurturing and how much self-love nurturing you have in your life and how that's going anyway. That's the soul pyramid on Saturn Day. Then on Sunday, it's a cloudy spiritual day. The universe lines it up perfectly sometimes, at least for the Christians, right? They go to church on Sunday. Neptune rules the day, logging us into our psychic self. It's a partly sunny day. The moon is in Sagittarius again, so your emotions are a bit private. You're interested in those you are most close to or situations you naturally trust. Moon that way. I also want to point out during the course of the day we'll have a subtle opposition between the moon in Sagittarius at 22 degrees and Venus down in Gemini at 22 degrees. This will be a turning point, I think, a little magical one, a very private one. On the one hand, your emotions again around trust, intimacy, where you draw your lines, but Venus down in Gemini trying to open you up to greater, more profound manifestation. Venus now in chapter 3 of Gemini is laying the foundation for what Jupiter is going to do later, which is increase your ability to manifest abundance, increase your ability to draw in. So there's a little tug of war between you being willing to shift your trust and intimacy, step in a little bit of a different paradigm, and what happens, you end up opening up, says Venus at 22 degrees, to greater manifestation and abundance, as we say in our little spiritual world. All right, Taurus, that wraps up this 7-day forecast. Hope to see you on SG After Dark on Monday, and I hope to see you anywhere in the garden through the week. Until next week, live, love, be.